Hey guys, you here, right? Hey, you know, welcome to the GTA 5 car v car episode. Today we have the Surano going against the Banshee. Another one of these highly requested episodes. Should be interesting to see which one's going to be better amongst these two. If you guys do enjoy this episode, make sure you guys slap that like button. Now, I've also been getting a few requests to make some changes to the test, which I'll be explaining at the end of the episode. But let's get right into it without wasting any further time. Starting off with the drifting with the Banshee. This car has, you know, pretty good drifting in general. However, when you compare it to the Surano, this car does end up losing a lot of speed after the first few drifts, or the first drift in fact. And it turns out you pretty much go down to first gear, which, you know, sucks, because with Surano you can do long distance drifting, at the same time keep that momentum for the speed to possibly do consecutive drifting. But it's pretty difficult with both these cars in general. But it turns out the Surano is in fact slightly better for drifting. But for handling, hands down, definitely the Banshee is one of the best cars in the game for handling. And it's a pretty loose car compared to the Surano. The Surano is pretty rigid, so in that sense, quite difficult to maneuver around tight corners and whatnot freely. So definitely the Banshee there taking a point for handling as well, in my opinion. And definitely with the field that I've been driving, testing both these cars out, the Banshee is definitely really good for handling comparing to the Surano. So looking square at the moment. Most of the time is how it is for handling and drifting tests, which I'll be asking you guys at the end of this episode. But sort of shotgun tests, you know, this is something, of course, to test out which car is more durable. Turns out the Banshee's 11 shots, and the Surano was pretty much similar to the Banshee here. And this was actually one of those surprises that you'd expect from one of these sort of tests that we do. And it turns out the Surano took 10 shots. I was expecting it to take more shots than the Banshee, but turned out the Banshee, well, actually took more. But anyway, head-on collision damage, you'd see from this angle, looks like the Surano took more damage, but if you look very closely, the whole hood came off for the Banshee there, so in fact took more damage. It's currently 2-2, but for the personal customization, for the best customization, sorry, if you look very closely, they were pretty tight, but it turned out that the Surano had one extra option for the skirts, and the Banshee did not, therefore giving the Surano an extra point, currently making a 3-2 for the fastest car. This wasn't a surprise for me. I mean, you'd expect the Surano to beat the Banshee here, just from your predictions and whatnot before the tests and just your instincts. But hey, it is what it is, and it kept going and going and kept pretty much pulling away from the Banshee here. So the Banshee wasn't catching the Surano at all at this very point. So definitely a point going towards Surano here for the fastest car between these two. So currently 4-2, but for the fourth gear acceleration test, another one that definitely baffled me, but this one is 7.10 seconds. And for the Surano, turned out that, well, let's see how many seconds. It was pretty tight indeed, but this one was 7.16, so the Banshee taking a point there. But for the fastest braking time, 1.12 for the Banshee, and then at the same time was 1.12 for the Surano, so making that 6.5. So it was pretty close tests there. Turns out the Surano beats the Banshee by 1 point, but definitely let me know in the comments below which one's your favorite and why. I personally prefer the Banshee over the Surano for the handling and the feel whenever I drive around the city. However, when it comes to the visuals and design, I definitely choose the Surano for that reason. So anyway, there's sort of these requests coming in to change some of the tests, for example, the handling and drifting. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want me to make that into one section, so only 1 point goes towards the car instead of splitting the drifting and handling to each cars, because some people are complaining that this doesn't make sense and whatnot, because if one car gets a point for drifting, then surely the other car is going to get a point for handling. So in this case, do you guys want me to put those together to make that into one whole point? Or do you want to keep it like the way it is for now from these episodes, where I keep them separate for handling and drifting? So definitely let me know in the comments below. At the same time, some of you have been telling me the head-on collision damage seems to not make sense, because some people say one car took more damage than the other. But I thoroughly check, and I do double check my tests to make sure that these visual damage tests are appropriate. And when it comes, and some people have been suggesting me to change or check the damage cost repair, but that doesn't scale towards the damage, it mostly scales towards the actual price of the car, so that doesn't really work. So unfortunately we can't do that. But anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. That is it for now, but definitely let me know in the comments below. And yeah, thanks for all the support, guys. See you guys soon. Check you soon out. Good night, peace, yeah.